What is an archive? An archive is a place where we store very important documents, pieces of art, things from antiquity. It's a place where you can go to do research and to find out things that you need to know about your journal article, your report for high school, a book. Remember, we talked about primary sources and what they are. Archives are just filled with primary sources, there for not the taking, but the looking at. There for you to peruse, to learn from, to study. Going into an archive is a completely different experience from going into a library. Now, you can have an archive within a library, but going into the archive itself, you're dealing with a lot of primary source documents. Think of the library portion of your local libraries having a lot of those secondary sources, like we talked about earlier. Yes, there are some primaries mixed in, some memoirs and things like that. But the archive is just stuffed with primary resource materials. And this is where you're going to get the biggest bang for your buck when it comes to research. Archivists are on the front line of public history. They're the ones who really help us to understand what they have in the collection and how we can develop something out of it. We can't forget that behind every secondary source is most likely an archivist who helps someone find that detailed information in those primary sources that were housed there. These primary sources can be photographs, they can be letters, they can be memoirs, they can be government records, pieces of art, and it's all there for you to peruse in your own discretion. What's very important to remember is that when you go into these places, there are certain rules and regulations that delegate how you interact with these pieces of history. When you look at original photographs from the Second World War, for example, you're going to have to wear gloves because the oil from your fingers is acidic over time to those documents, to those photographs, and you're going to have the proper protective equipment on, as we would say, against that. You're going to have to make sure that you use a pencil and not a pen many times when it comes to note taking, if you still use paper and pencil, that is, because you don't want pen marks on any original documents. It's harder to get out than it is to just erase something in pencil. Now, obviously, we go in and we type things and we type up our notes and we type the descriptions of the things that we find. So it's always good to have that laptop available for that reason. You'll have to check with your local archive if you're allowed to scan things onto your phone or if you take in another form of digital scanner. Each archive is different, but they will help you as best as they can to give you the best kinds of information that you need to make sure that your work really advances the idea based on your research question, which we went over before in a different video, based on your thesis, which we'll go over in another video yet to come, and based on your experience. All of this is really important to your success in the archive. And an archivist is there to help you figure out and find out the information that you need, where it's stored, and how you can utilize it to your best advantage.